Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Life, Music, and Everything Else. I am your host, Sin, and today's topic for episode 2 is hip-hop, who killed it. Yes, as you can tell, that classic beat playing, most of y'all know what that is. So you're the ones that don't, look it up. Use your phone, use your app, your Shazam or something. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Today on this episode, I'm going to talk to people and ask them their first encounter with hip-hop. When did they fall in love with it? Also, we're going to have a segment called Name That Sample. So if y'all can give me the sample of the person that used this or the person that used this sample on one of their beats or one of their music, I got something very special for y'all. So if you can guess that and post that down there whenever I post a link to the podcast on Facebook or SoundCloud, whichever one you listen to it on, if you're listening to it, I'm hoping y'all listening to it. Leave that, I got something real special for y'all. So here we are, episode 2. I'm glad that the ones that listened. Checked out the first one, wife support, we got that out. I won't say we got that out of the way, but we addressed some very important issues on that one. Now, who killed it? Hip-hop. We're going to get into this debate, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Life, music, and everything else. Let's go. That was me clapping. I mean, I don't have no audience, so, you got to use your resources. But anyway, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to tell y'all a story. I won't talk you too long, but I'm going to tell you about my first encounter with hip-hop. Let's go back. South side of Chicago, you know what I mean? I remember being a young cat. My uncle, he did his thing in the streets or whatever, but he loved hip-hop. He loved music, so he would buy cassette tapes, bootleg cassette tapes. And he had his little collection up in his top drawer, in his dresser drawer. And, whenever he left to go do whatever he was doing or whatever, and I'm down there in the basement, by myself in my room, I was sneaking there, grab a couple tapes. And how I picked them was by the album covers, you know what I'm saying? If something looked like it was cool, I picked it, you know what I mean? I remember seeing a 8-Ball and MJG album cover, and I just thought it was so cool, so I picked it. And I was listening to it, but I had no idea what these guys was talking about. You know what I mean? Like 8-Ball be on there, Fat Mac and Paint a Yak. And I didn't know what a Paint a Yak was. You know what I mean? So I'm just like fascinated by how these dudes talk and how they put the stuff together and how the music sound. But I really wasn't blown away by hip hop until I came across a tape called Creeping on the Come Up. Yes, those of y'all that know me since I was a shorty know Bone Thugs and Harmony changed my whole world, man. When that album dropped and I put that Creeping on the Come Up in, I remember I sat down there all night, you know what I'm saying, fell asleep listening to it with the speaker right by my head, you know what I'm saying, just listening to that Creeping on the Come Up, like, who are these dudes and how they sound and the way they wore their hair, just the music was incredible. And as a young kid, I knew that off top because what I was listening to sounded like nothing I had ever heard before. So that happened with the Creeping on the Come Up and literally when East 1999 dropped Eternal, I mean, I remember me and my dudes used to sit there and try to act like we was Bone, and I wasn't going home doing homework and memorizing words for spelling. I was memorizing Bone raps straight up. I'm not going to even front. Because I wanted to come and I wanted to, I wanted to spit everything that them dudes was saying because I felt like they was the coldest dudes in the game doing it, man. And that's when I knew off top hip-hop had me. I was in it for the long haul, but I didn't know that it would change the way it changed till this day. So that's a whole nother topic, you know what I mean? That's up for debate. I guess people going to say, oh, he one of them 90s heads and he hating on the new game. No, no, I'm not hating. I support and I'm grateful and glad for all the young cats that's doing their thing, feeding their families, having a career, not out on the streets being bums. They doing it. But as a fan of the music, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? If that make any sense, I'm not hating on them as a person, but the music that they make, I can't vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. That's why I say it's up for debate. So, but earlier, I was talking about album covers and picking the tape that I wanted to listen to by album covers. Now, I'm old fashioned. Like I want to go to the record store and actually buy the albums. I'm still stuck on that. I want to buy the CD. I want to open it up. I want to look at the artwork. I want to, you know what I'm saying, read who produced what samples did what, who wrote what. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way that I feel like I'm more, what's the word? I'm more in tune with the album and this person. You put all this time into making this project and making this album, and now you just send a link to someone's phone and they have the album. It's no kind of connection to me. I don't want to download your album on iTunes. I want to, make me go out to the store. It's that hot. I want to go out to the store, pay my 16, 18, whatever amount it is, and get your album. Be anxious to get back to the car to put it in and hear that intro or look at the artwork. You know what I'm saying? But I guess times has changed. I'm still stuck in the old days. And I mean, I'll just be that way. But so anyway, we're going to get into some of these phone calls and some of these interviews with people and get a different perspective on everyone's encounter with this thing that we all love called hip hop. All right. First person I'm calling is one of my good buddies, J-Rod, white guy, funny guy. So let's see if he answers and let's pick his brain about hip hop. J-Rod, what's up, my man?
What's going on?
Would you sleep?
No, I just got walked in the house, man.
Oh, you busy? You got a minute? I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, let's go away.
Okay, man. Hey, I just want your honest opinion, man, and you just tell me how you feel. What was your first encounter with hip hop? Like, what made you fall in love with hip hop, man?
Oh, man. First song I ever started listening to was that, album was the Chronic Dr. Dre. I love that nothing but a G thing song.
Oh yeah.
And if I really think about it, it was a sound.
What year was that? 93?
Oh, I have to look it up.
Man, that's pretty, man. Go back to those years, the 90s. So would you say if you had a choice to change the music game right now, would you leave it the way it is, or would you say, okay, rewind, everything's going back to the 90s style of music? What would you do?
Well, I don't like any of the music these days. I like the sounds and some of the sounds and stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like as a society we're on repeat, and we're just repeating the same garbage from before.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of things getting better, they just get more stagnant. And from what I understand, older people than me, that when it comes to rock and roll and stuff like that, that's why they like the 103.3 rock. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's just a generational thing.
Yeah, because I guess I wonder what the older cats thought about us when we was listening to Bone and Pac, and you know what I mean? Like, is it the way that we listen to today's generation of music? I don't think it.
See, the older generation than us was listening to the Queen Latifahs and the KRS-Ones and the artists that were actually standing up for rights and actually oppression, as opposed to, okay, when it comes to Dr. Dre, it had changed.
Yeah, it changed.
And not too bad.
I still, not to cut you off. My opinion on that is, it did change, and like they say, this is the power of street rap. Like, it was them rapping about their communities, or rapping about what was going on, and just bringing it to the forefront. So yeah, it was violent, it was this and that, but that's what they saw. You know what I'm saying? I don't. When I listen to it, I always listen to it. I never glorified the violence. I always listen to man, stuff got to change. This is real. This is what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I think you got the best of both. You know, when Pac would come and talk about the things that he was talking, he gave you the good, and he gave you the bad. He didn't make the bad sound all good like cats today. All you hear is about the horrible stuff, and they glorify it like it's just the best thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it is a big difference, man.
Well, and there was a post on Facebook maybe, I don't know, maybe last year, I'll never forget it. And it had a picture of Tupac on there. And it had, you know, he had the style of clothes that he wore. And then they had a picture of some rapper today, and he had skinny jeans on and, like, just looked totally out of this world. And it was just, like, one of those kinds of posts of,
Okay.
you know.
I got a last question for you, J. Rod, then that's gonna conclude our interview. I got to make a couple more calls. But would you prefer nowadays with the way things are today, which is different from how it was when we were younger, would you prefer to go and actually buy an album, or would you prefer to download it?
Honestly, I just prefer to, like, YouTube it or Spot. What's that one? I don't know. Here, hold on.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So question. If and I said that was the last one, but I got one more for you. So, like, when that Dr. Dre album dropped, and the Chronic dropped, and you heard it, and you was fascinated by every aspect of that whole entire record, would you prefer to download it, or would you prefer to actually go and buy the physical copy of that piece of work?
Oh, a digital as opposed to a hard copy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in favor of maybe both of them.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily because, like, if you have it on a hard drive, well, what if all the power goes out? You can't listen to it. Or if some bit gets deleted, you completely lose everything.
Yeah. Well,
or your hard drive gets corrupted, you might lose it that way. As opposed to buying a hard copy, you have it.
you have it. You get the, me personally, my opinion, I prefer the hard copy any day. That's just me.
Yeah.
I like to look at it. I like to feel it. That's just me. But
man, that's happening with books right now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of books are going to digital, and so books are going to be a very rare item when you get older.
True that. Well, J-Rod, thanks for being on my podcast, even though you didn't know you was on my podcast, but I recorded this whole conversation. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for coming out to Life Music and everything else. I'm gonna make a couple more calls, but I'll call you back, man. Thanks for tuning in, J-Rod. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Peace. Shout out to my good buddy J-Rod. Thanks for calling in, or me calling him, but I'm sitting here thinking, man, and the name of the show is Hip Hop Who Killed It, you know. Hip Hop just died this morning and she's dead. She's dead. You know, remember when Nas dropped that, Hip Hop is dead, but I'm thinking, like, what happened to it? Like, where did that point come to where me personally, I fell out of love with it? Like, I used to have those moments all the time where, you know, when the vibe will have the hip hop, not the vibe, but the source will have the hip hop quotable, and you sitting there, you reading the lyrics and breaking down the bars, and they would have the ensemble hype, and the source was everything. You know what I'm saying? Then Double XL came, and you had this anticipation for the next album. You had this anticipation for the next artist to pop. You know what I'm saying? It just was a different time back then, to where the love level for hip hop was always at a high, man. I remember my first encounter with a South rapper, and what was the guy? Wanna be a baller, and I'm like, what the heck is this crap? Because I just thought it was all about bars and rhymes, you know what I mean? But it was kind of groundbreaking. It opened up the door for other South artists, you know, or my ears to other South artists like 8-Ball MJG. I was a big Juvenile fan. Like, the music changed, and it changed for the better, I would say, because the South brought a lot to the game, a whole lot to the game. Like, I was strictly Midwest, Twister, Crucial Conflict, Do or Die, you know what I'm saying? Bump J. I was strictly Midwest, East Coast, Nas, Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? Cormega, all my CNN, Capone, like, I'm strictly those two coasts is all that I stick to. West Coast I mess with Dre, was doing this thing, but when the South came, cats like 8-Ball MJG, Scarface, Taylor, you know, dudes that actually could spit and was like bringing the